I never thought agreeing to watch my neighbor's house would turn into the worst night of my life. It started innocently enough. Mark from 2 doors down, the guy who always mowed his lawn at 6 a.m. no matter the weather, asked me if I could keep an eye on his place while he was out of town. He mentioned he'd be gone for a week on a business trip, and the way he said it made it sound casual, like it wasn't a big deal. I was happy to help. We'd exchanged holiday cookies a few years back, and I figured it was just a few evenings of flipping lights on and off, maybe collecting his mail, no big deal. The first night, I arrived around 9. His house was darker than usual, almost unnervingly quiet. From the outside, everything looked normal. The front yard was neat, the lights in the living room off, his car gone. I let myself in with the spare key he'd given me, and started doing the usual, checking that doors were locked, adjusting the thermostat, making sure the porch lights were on a timer. Then I noticed the first thing that didn't feel right. The house smelled faintly like damp wood and bleach, a combination that made my stomach twist. I shrugged it off, thinking he probably hired someone to clean before he left, but the feeling lingered. I made my way to the living room, flipping on the lamps in each corner. That's when I saw it, a small, almost hidden panel near the corner bookshelf. It didn't match the rest of the wall, slightly different grain, a faint seam along the edges. I had a passing thought that maybe it was some maintenance access, or maybe a dumb storage nook, and I almost ignored it. But curiosity got the better of me. I pressed the panel, and it swung open with a quiet click, revealing a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. My heart thumped in my chest. I hesitated, telling myself it had to be a wine cellar or some old storage, nothing sinister. But the air that escaped the stairwell smelled different, metallic, heavy. I pulled out my phone, using the flashlight to look down the steps. At the bottom, the walls were lined with monitors, screens showing street corners, other houses, people's driveways, families going about their normal routines. My pulse jumped. It was surveillance. He had a full-blown camera setup, tracking local houses, including mine. I stumbled back, bumping the shelf. The faint click echoed too loudly in the silent house. I told myself to calm down, to rationalize. Maybe Mark was some security nut. Maybe he was paranoid. But my rational thoughts ended when I noticed movement on one of the screens, a figure moving inside the house, downstairs, in the kitchen. That didn't make sense. I was the only one supposed to be here. I froze, trying to convince myself I was seeing shadows, tricks of the camera. The figure shifted, paused, and then turned directly toward a camera. My blood ran cold. Whoever or whatever was down there, they knew I was watching. I felt a tap on my shoulder behind me. Whipping around, the house was empty. I called out, my voice shaking, but only silence answered. That's when I realized the cameras weren't just passive. Someone was watching me, reacting to me. I had no idea if it was Mark's doing, or someone else entirely. Every instinct screamed to leave, to run straight out the front door. But something kept me rooted. I had to understand. I went back to the panel, trying to see if there were more clues. Among the monitors, I noticed a small desk covered with logs, dates, times, street addresses, and notes about what people did at certain hours. The handwriting wasn't neat, it was hurried, urgent. My stomach sank as I read the notes, mentions of people arriving home, children leaving for school, who had visitors over. And one set of notes was dated today, mentioning me, my name, my routine, the way I usually walk from my car to my door. I backed away slowly, realizing that whoever had been here, maybe even Mark, knew me, knew when I was inside the house. And then I heard it, a floorboard creak upstairs. Someone was moving above me, not Mark. He was supposed to be on a plane, not a family member. He didn't have any. The footsteps stopped, as if they knew I was watching. Every hair on my neck stood on end. I thought about my options: call the police, run, hide. But every second I hesitated, the feeling grew stronger that this person wasn't just intruding, they were playing a game. And the house was theirs, not mine. The cameras flickered, as if someone was adjusting them. One screen focused on the basement entrance, the one I had just discovered, zooming slowly in. I realized with a sickening clarity. I couldn't leave, not without being seen. Someone inside the house was aware of my presence, maneuvering in the shadows, tracking me the way I had been tracking them on the monitors. And yet, I couldn't leave. Curiosity and fear pinned me to that spot. The air was heavy, oppressive, every creak in the floorboards amplified. And then I heard a whisper, low, deliberate, coming from somewhere in the house. "I see you." I froze. It wasn't a shadow or the wind. It was real. Someone knew exactly where I was. Someone was inside the house. And the game had just begun. I couldn't move. My heart was hammering in my chest. And I felt that paralyzing mix of fear and disbelief. That makes your mind race while your body refuses to obey. "Who's there?" I croaked. My voice barely above a whisper. No answer, just the soft hum of the monitors. And the faint creak of footsteps moving somewhere above me. Whoever it was, they weren't panicked. They were deliberate, careful. Watching, waiting. I forced myself to step away from the basement panel. And retreat toward the living room. Every instinct screamed to get out of the house. But I also knew I couldn't just run blindly into danger. I needed to figure out what I was dealing with. My eyes darted to the hallway leading to the kitchen. The place the figure had been on the cameras. I told myself it was probably a maintenance worker. Or maybe Mark's cousin he never mentioned. But the whisper, that voice saying, "I see you," made me doubt every rational explanation. I grabbed the nearest object I could find. A heavy brass lamp. And crept toward the kitchen. Keeping low. Trying not to make a sound. The creaks and groans of the floorboards above matched my racing pulse. And with every step, I felt eyes on me. I didn't dare look at the screens again. It felt too much like acknowledging that I was in a game I didn't understand. Then I saw movement. A shadow darted across the top of the stairs, leading to the second floor. Whoever was in the house was nimble, careful, almost feline. I reached the kitchen and froze. The back door was ajar, though I was certain I had locked it when I came in. The wind wasn't blowing hard enough to push it open, so someone had to have done it from inside. My mind went wild with possibilities. An intruder. Mark hiding something from me. Or worse. Someone who had been living in this house unbeknownst to me. Using Mark's absence as a cover. Then I noticed something on the counter. A stack of notebooks. Loose papers. And photos. I edged closer. My hands trembling. And skimmed through them. Photographs of local families. Including mine. Taken at various times of day. Pictures of me leaving for work. My car in the driveway. The exact route I take from my door to my mailbox. Names, addresses, and schedules scribbled in frantic handwriting. My stomach dropped. I wasn't just being watched. I had been studied. For how long? I didn't know. But it was detailed. Precise. Obsessive. I heard a door click upstairs. Louder this time. Followed by the faint shuffle of feet. Approaching the staircase. Whoever was up there was coming down. I ducked behind the counter. Clutching the lamp. Heart in my throat. Praying they wouldn't see me. The shadow appeared in the doorway. Tall. Wearing dark clothing that blended with the dim lighting. I couldn't see a face. But I could feel them searching. Scanning. Moving methodically through the kitchen. Just a few feet from where I crouched. I realized I had to act. I couldn't wait for them to find me, or for Mark to come back and explain this twisted setup. I slowly, carefully, moved toward the side door, the one that led to the garage. Maybe I could slip out there and call the police without being seen. Each step felt like a lifetime. The shadow stopped for a moment, head cocked, as if sensing something was off. My breath caught in my throat. Then, just as I reached the door, a hand shot out from behind the counter and grabbed my shoulder. I yelped, swinging the lamp with every ounce of strength I had. There was a loud crash, and the figure stumbled back. I bolted for the door, swinging it open, and sprinting into the night, not daring to look back. I didn't stop until I reached my own front yard, panting, soaked in sweat, my hands shaking uncontrollably. I called 911, and within minutes, police cars and flashing lights swarmed Mark's property. They found the house empty. No intruder. No one hiding. But the basement panel and surveillance equipment were gone, leaving no trace of the monitors or the documents I had seen. It was as if the house itself had swallowed the evidence. Mark came back 2 days later, oblivious to what had happened. He mentioned nothing about cameras, hidden rooms, or anyone else being in the house. When I asked him, he laughed nervously, brushing it off as paranoia. But I knew better. Someone had been inside. Someone had watched me, studied me, and let me see just enough to terrify me. I never returned to that house after that night. Even now, months later, I check my surroundings constantly. Every creak, every shadow, every unexpected movement makes my heart race. I know what I saw wasn't imagination. Someone had been inside that house, and they knew I was there. And somewhere, somehow, they still might be watching. It changed me in ways I can't explain. Simple acts like walking to the mailbox, leaving the house, even answering the door, now feel loaded with danger. I can't unsee what I saw, and I can't shake the feeling that the game I was pulled into that night isn't over. The house may be quiet now, the basement empty, the cameras gone, but the memory of being watched, studied, hunted, will stay with me forever. The night Mark asked me to watch his house turned into a night I will never forget. A night that still haunts every quiet moment of my life.